then stuff hit the fan. We were on a weekend away, and I felt tender behind my ears. And we'd kind of been dabbling with essential oils too, a little bit. And I thought, well, maybe I put too much of the oils behind my ear. But we got home that weekend, and all of a sudden, the wheels completely fell off the wagon. And my ears completely puffed up to be about twice the size. They were standing straight out. I remember going into my office the one day, and my colleagues never said anything, but they told me later that they were like just looking at me thinking, what happened to you? And of course I had to keep going to work. I thought we're going to work through this somehow. And I finally, my ears got so big and there was fluid coming out of my ears. So I think what we feel is what happened was, and it was interesting because 3 weeks after I started using the clay on my foot, the surface of my foot, the wound that had been discharging this fluid for the last 4 years completely sealed over. And may I say, it healed over. It didn't just scab over, it completely healed over. And that was really interesting for us. Well, when we saw that had happened, we went like, wow, that's cool. That's awesome. But then I am completely messed. My ears are literally, I had a shower and I could see the fluid running down the inside of my ears, and it would drip onto my shoulder. This wasn't extensive. It didn't just keep dripping, but it was happening. And it was that way for several days, and my ears swelled up, and my body was completely covered in hives. Like, it was the worst I've ever had. I do have allergies. An allergy, I would say, with hay fever. I wasn't able to do farming because I would get into grain dust and my body would react, and I would get hives all over the place. But this is like hives on steroids, I tell you. It was brutal. As awkward as that felt, it was still a relief from the itch that I had. So, I got to go see a doctor. This is crazy. So what I did is I went to, my family doctor was not around, so I went to a very good friend of mine who was a physician. I love this guy. He's awesome. And I went to him, and he had one look at me, and he said, "Oh, Dan, you're in trouble." And so I was there for probably, it took up an hour or more of his time. And what he did, I thought was, I really commend him for it. He really tried hard to see if he could get to the bottom of this. And because it was a skin reaction, he also then confided in some of his colleagues at the office as well as in Calgary, made several calls. He just left my room for several minutes, made some calls, and they had a little conference call to see what are we going to do with this guy. He's really messed. And so they gave me several medications in order to deal with the skin issue. But deep down inside, we're thinking, okay, my heel is now blocked off. I don't know if we have fixed the infection. I bet you what's happened is now the infection is finding other ways to get out of my body. And really, to this day, that's what we think happened. And my whole system went crazy. And that's when, about then, is where Cheryl met Maria. And then things took a whole new shift. And we're so thankful to God that we were able to meet her and kind of give us hope. Like, you can actually live. You're going to work. It's going to work. And you're going to make it. Traveled by what she sees. She's seen worse. So that definitely gave. I remember going home that day and going, okay, let's give this lady a shot, because our efforts were pretty much done. So, and it was so not forceful. I remember her just saying, okay, Dan, look at me. You need to do this. And you need to do everything I ask you. And in my mind, I'm going, oh, sure, no problem. How bad can that be? Well, it wasn't bad at all. Honestly, kind of. But some of the things I did were like, seriously? This works? And I have to drink this stuff? But obviously it didn't kill me, even though I thought at the time, oh, this is just the worst. But it wasn't. Okay, it totally wasn't. When you have a purpose, when you have a plan, when you know that your back's up against the wall, you will do anything. And when you're consuming everything natural that God has made, like everything, there was nothing she ever asked us to do that wasn't completely, legitimately, 100% natural. We're here on this earth for such a brief moment, and time is nothing. And looking back now, 8 months I thought would be so long, but it just chugged by, and very quickly that time was up, and it was almost to the week of what Maria said it was going to be, until Cheryl and I looked at each other and I was like, oh, thank you, God, for bringing us through this time. I mean, it wasn't completely done in 8 months. There was still healing going on, but the infection was gone. There was just skin surface stuff that had to be done, and we're ever so grateful.
Results of somebody who is told there's nothing else that we can do for you. Why ever in the world would you not do that if you're going to heal your body and be more vibrant and better than you ever have been for 5 years? It's inspiration, and also our feeling of desperation that if we do not take seriously everything that she said, that maybe Dan wouldn't be here. And there was one point in November where Dan had edema really bad. That's a swelling of, actually it went in both feet where they looked like elephant stumps. And some folks from the medical community that we knew were panicking and saying, get him to the hospital right now. And we had an experience where we actually did go to emergency because of urging from people, and had other doctors again look at it again and had 3 different opinions right there. And so we just kind of felt panicked again. And Maria said, stop listening. Just stop listening and keep following what we're doing, because it's going to work. And it did. We felt like we did our due diligence to all the possibilities. But seriously, we have no idea what would have happened to Dan if we had never met. Maria and her experience from years and years of healing with nature saved Dan's life. I am so thankful for what Cheryl's done for me. Honestly, between her and Maria and God, this video would not be happening, and so I am just so very, very thankful. Why would anyone not follow Maria's protocol? Unadulterated nature. It works. It worked for Dan. Her whole protocol has flaxseed oil and herbs and teas and so many things. It's like one thing doesn't do it. It was a total, complete, many things together is what healed Dan, and we're thankful. I kind of partway through this whole thing, I'm thinking, okay, before I was taking antibiotics and they weren't working, and now I'm taking all this other stuff, and I realized everything I'm taking into my body now, none of it is bad for me. None of it. Nothing chemical. No. Okay, so this whole thing, this whole healing your body with natural plants and vegetation. And you know what? There's probably so much out there that we haven't even discovered yet that nature can give us, and how it can heal us. But throughout the whole process, remember when I told you that it would take 8 months? I remember one night, okay, what I want to tell you is that
the healing, it doesn't go like a slope. It kind of goes in jumps. At least it did for me, okay? And that's what I can tell you, is this is what happened to me. One of my encouraging moments was, I'm having a perfectly good sleep, except I'm getting up a lot because I need to go to the washroom, because I'm taking a lot of fluids in. And as soon as I kind of woke up laying on the bed, before I left the bed, I just sensed there was something different happening here. And I got to the washroom with the light on, and I noticed some significant change in my feet. Because you need to know that my feet were so swollen, and Cheryl mentioned about that you could not see my ankles. There was no wrinkles in my feet. When I lifted my foot up, there was just one wrinkle. Nothing else. My toes were not swollen, but the swelling came right to the behind where my toes began, and it's just like this fat glob there. And I'm sitting there in the washroom, and I'm looking at my feet, and I'm not kidding you, a third of the swelling had suddenly disappeared. And I'm going, sweet! Something's happening here. Something is moving out of my system. And I finally lost some of the fluid that my legs had. Another time was when, you need to understand too that my arms, it's just weird, but my legs were affected just to above my knees, and swollen and very itchy, and my arms too, for some reason, from my big knuckles here all the way to my shoulder, actually. And it was taking a long time for swelling to go down there as well. And because of following the protocol that Maria had, also one night, or the next morning, I unwrapped my arms, and I was like, wow, there's a change here. And the pain didn't feel so tight. But before this, okay, even before my toes, with all the infection leaving my body, my lymphs were crazy. They were like I had big eggs here behind my ears, and also my groin, my lymph was incredibly swollen. And it was like an extra large egg cut in half and just stuck onto your skin. And they were really, really inflamed. And there was a moment too when suddenly I saw, wait a minute, this has really gone down here, Cheryl. Look. And I would show her the changes there. And then it was the same way with my groin. The one side was always really large, and then the other side, halfway through, it also began to inflame. And so there was a point too when those went significantly dropped again too. But then it took, the rest of the time, it was a slow thing where slowly it disappeared. And these, they're completely gone now. And so I just want to encourage you that when you do something like this, it's not going to happen overnight. Just hang in there, because it takes, for one, it didn't get that way overnight, so why do we think it's just going to disappear overnight? Mm-hmm. It took a long time for me to get to the point, and who knows what, even my diet wasn't great before all of this, okay? I love sugar. Let's just put it straight and simple. I love sugar.
And hot dogs.
Yeah, donuts, yay! My body was kind of messed up, and so I have to allow, okay, I should have said, when Maria said 8 months, I should have said, oh, really? It's only going to take 8 months? Because your body needs time. It needs time to just embetter itself. And very thankful that I gave it the time. Even though your body doesn't really, you don't give your body any time. Your body will demand it. We think we have control of our body. Just so you know, newsflash, we don't, okay? When you get to a certain point, your body will just say, we're done with whatever you're doing to your body, we're shutting down. I know it doesn't suit you, but that's just what's going to happen. And that's what was happening to me. And so all this stuff, Cheryl helping me, Maria helping us, and just intake of unadulterated, wonderful food is why we're having this encouraging time. And I hope you guys are encouraged, okay? I hope you take away from here that, you know what, don't lose hope. Take courage. Listen to someone. Humble yourself. Get rid of some other ideas that you've had about stuff that might work and still will. Just open yourself up to the thought that, hey, let's just give this a shot. How bad can it be?
Unadulterated nature works.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Maria, we are so thankful that what you did for Dan, because we'd like to introduce our little family here. This was just taken a couple months ago, and the picture just wouldn't be the same if Dan wasn't in it. And our kids were so concerned for their dad, and we've got 5 little grandchildren, and it wouldn't have been nearly as much fun without Grandpa.
And I'm so pleased that my knowledge in unadulterated nature could help you out. And I'm so pleased also that I have met you and I had the opportunity to be with you for the period of time, and I will always be your friend.
Thank you. And our kids really, really appreciate you too. Thank you.
Yay!